Hi, beautiful humans. I want to talk to you about spiritual practice and why it's relevant when we're going through these incredibly changing times and what you can do, what your practice might look like in a really accessible way. We probably all have that friend that we don't speak to that often. Maybe we wish there was more communication, but for whatever reason, time and circumstance creates distance in our lives. And then when we do connect, there may be that sense of, oh, it's like I talked to this person just the other day. It's there, the depth is there, that sense of soul recognition is there, and you're nourished by the bond. Then you may think, I wish we did this more often. And then life happens and off you go. Spiritual practice is like a way of connecting with that beautiful friend that is always going to be there, that regardless of how much time and space we'll be able to bring nurturance. But when we give ourselves that time, that discipline, that space, and it might only be 5 minutes a day that we can actually put aside, but it's enough to have an effect, actually. It's the discipline, even if it's setting your phone timer and saying you're going to get a reminder at a certain time each morning or evening to do your practice. It reinforces that not only the relationship is there at that spiritual level that you can lean into and feel supported from within as you navigate perhaps the metabolizing of your past, perhaps the generating of a vision for your future, perhaps the capacity to be extremely present in what's happening for you in the here and now, so that you know how you want to show up for yourself and in the world when so much change is taking place, so much instability, so much suffering, and also so much heroic human activity to want to bring about a better world, a response to what's perceived as the difficulties, the injustice, and the pain, to bring forth something that is more holistic, more inclusive, more beneficial for all of humanity, for all of our planet. So it's really important that those of us that feel this inspiration, this motivation, this desire to articulate truth, to express clarity, to create and generate alternatives, and to be the energy of the healing, change, and transformation in ourselves and in our world, that we have the support to do it. So, spiritual practice is like this. Now, I said 5 minutes might be enough each day. If you can do more, that's great. If you can't, it's okay. What matters is that you do small amounts consistently. That's the best result, the best reinforcement of a different pattern, an alternative pattern. And this is especially important if you're confronted with things that are happening in your life or the world and you start to feel despair, or you start to feel a sense of futility. Those things are generally trauma responses where we feel disconnected from our sense of agency, from our hope for difference, for change, for transformation, that can be real. So we need to have a sense of the energy that reinforces a feeling of capacity, of hope, not the passive kind of hope that's maybe escapist and not based on doing anything, but the liberating, powerful hope that actually motivates us to say, yes, things can change, and yes, they will, as we move in different ways and empower ourselves to make choices in our lives that reflect where it is we want to go or what it is that we really want to do. So sometimes that takes a lot of courage because it might directly confront inheritances of belief systems or conditioning or traumatic experiences that tell us the opposite. You know, that you're not good enough, or that you don't have the choice, or that it's futile, so why even bother, or all these sorts of messages that can drain our spirit and our sense of energy. So the practice is about giving ourselves the best possible environment, the best possible affirmation, and the best possible recalibration into a frequency that's going to serve everything that you can actually do, that you have within you that wants to be expressed through your unique life path and purpose. So, what does that practice look like? Could be anything really, from gardening to meditation to dancing. It could be singing or creativity. It could be saying a prayer. I've written so many oracle decks and books and meditation albums and things that actually have practices in them that you can do that may be from a few minutes to longer than an hour. So the choices are there really for you to choose. What I would say about how to choose and where to start: work with one, something you're interested in that you want to do. So it's a little bit like a form of exercise. If you enjoy it, you're more likely to do it. Or if you don't enjoy it that much, but you can kind of work with it as in, I know this is a benefit, and you can kind of reinforce this has a good effect on me. So something that feels like you can either enjoy it or work with the positive effect of it in your mind, that you accept that. It's something that you can hook into when you're beginning to perhaps develop or return to a more consistent practice, or wanting to increase your practice a little bit, finding that sense of what it is that helps you hook in the early phases until it becomes habit, because it will. For each of us, it may vary a little bit as to how long that takes. Some people say it's 3 weeks. I've found when you are creating a habit out of something and there's deep trauma that you are overcoming in order to make that a habit and claim it, it may take longer. There are certain things in my life where it's been months, if not years, of consistent practice before something just feels like there's no effort involved in showing up and doing the practice, and I actually want to do it. But it took a while to get through all the layers of taboo or various negative conditions, or even into the body experience of doing a practice. Perhaps it's a certain type of yoga or something, or dance, for example, where you have to kind of reclaim yourself from the energy of that trauma and give yourself permission to really show up and be in that practice. So if there is resistance to doing the practice, sometimes that's actually a really good sign that the practice is working to deconstruct an inheritance which is not great for you, and transform it into something else, maybe spiritual strength, that you overcome it and then apply to doing whatever it is that you want to do, art or music or whatever it might be. So if that's happening, finding the thing that you can latch onto that gives you enough of a sense of, okay, this is hard now, but it will get easier. And you will develop a love for it and a desire to do it. And when you're at that place, then it's simply a matter of what deepens and what are you really drawn to. But choosing the thing that you can connect with now for whatever's going on in your life, for whatever length of time or whatever consistency you can manage, is actually kind of wise. That's what's going to work for you. So your practice doesn't have to be perfect. It's called a practice. It's not called perfect. I hope that whatever it is that you land upon, that you decide you want to do, that you find a sense of value for yourself and for it, and you allow it to be the step on a journey. That practice will very likely evolve through your life. Maybe elements will remain the same and you build upon it. But what matters is just how you show up now, with a sense of openness, curiosity, and remember that that kind of discipline doesn't have to be a force of will. It's an act of self-love and self-respect. And not only you benefit, but when you're in that healthier state on every level, you're bringing a kind of energy into the world that we are all so grateful for. We all need each other, part of this one body of human consciousness. So when we bring ourselves to it, we bring our practice, our energy, we're benefiting not only ourselves, but each other too. Very beautiful, yeah. So much love from my heart to yours. Practice well, dear ones, maybe even with an element of play. Lots of love.